back even before COVID, even before my fishing simulator era, I played Bee Swarm Simulator. At the time, I didn't grind too much of it, but I progressed up until I had like 17 or 18 bees. But today, I have a fresh account that has never touched Bee Swarm Simulator in its entirety. And today, that'll change. In this video, I'll be playing Bee Swarm Simulator on Roblox to see how much I can progress in 24 hours. Here's how that went. Entering a random server, the first thing that I noticed was how many noises there were. It was almost overwhelming. There was a hoot here, some random explosion in the distance, just a lot of noise. Starting out, I didn't think to hatch my first egg, so I just went into the flower fields and started farming without a bee. Once I finished collecting all that pollen from the flowers, I hatched my first bee. A common, lowly bee. This bee would allow me to make the great progression to the upper levels. And this was the start to a grand adventure. A cool benefit of joining a public server are the higher level people. And there are plenty of them. If these grinders are farming flowers nearby, you can simply leech off of the honey they sometimes drop, which will actually give you a small but impactful boost in progression. So getting the first couple of bees into my hive was probably the easiest task to do. What I didn't know was that the price to get an egg increased, making for another task to grind for. This isn't the only thing you have to grind for in this game. Essentially, the grind of the whole game involves getting more bees into your hive, getting better storage for more pollen, getting a better tool to get the pollen quicker, and the miscellaneous defense and stat boosting items. There's a lot to grind for. To progress to the next area, I had to get 5 bees. And let me tell you, getting these next 2 bees was hard to do in and of itself. And I mean, I was dirt poor with only a couple of bees to help me get pollen with me. After a lot of back and forth between my beehive and the flower fields, I upgraded a tad bit, up until I got 5 bees and was able to access the next place. There are quite a bit of places you can go in Bee Swarm Simulator, and each area requires a certain amount of bees to access it. After that dreadful back and forth of trying to get 5 more bees, I was able to relax a little bit, but not really, as I needed 5 more bees to access the next area. And this was no easy task as their bees were racking up in price, and I didn't get the chance to buy better equipment for myself. My top priority now was to be able to get better equipment, and while I had extra honey to spare, I spent it on new bees. Okay, let's go over some features to look out for in Bee Swarm Simulator, at least the ones I know of. One of the most important features is Royal Jelly. Is probably the thing that you'll want to save up for the most, but you're not saving honey, you're saving golden tickets, which is a different kind of currency. To my knowledge of getting golden tickets, some quests give you it, but I got most of mine from doing achievements, and it's probably the easiest way. Royal Jelly is important because giving 1 to your bee will change its rarity, the highest rarity being mythic, but I'm not sure what the chances of getting it are. I hope they add something like that. The last feature I will make a point about are the treats that you can give to your bees. Bee treats will come in different forms, including strawberries, blueberries, or plain treats. Bee treats will enhance the bond you have with your bees, giving specific boost to its efficiency, like how much pollen it gathers, energy, that sort of thing. I believe some bees do prefer a certain type of treat, but I'm not here to try and figure that out. Going back to my grind, I was learning that quest might be good for my progression. It was only then that I realized that. It started with the panda, who, if you talk to him, he will give you kill quest for a good amount of honey. This area that I was in was perfect for this type of thing. So I did all that, got myself the best backpack that I could get from the store, and a bunch more bees. After a few hours of grinding, I made it to the next area for 10 bees. The bees in my hive were starting to look up. Depositing the pollen was starting to look pretty cool. I mean, look at the swirls of the thing. Yep. Being able to access this area will introduce a bunch of new upgrades to your gear. So once you get the best gear from the first store, it's back to square one. Additionally, the price difference is quite drastic compared to the first store. I would even say that the price jumps were almost unnecessarily high. Like, look at this jug you can get from the pro shop. This tank is 2 times the price of that. And the bag after that is like 6 times the price of the tank. I will say that getting the best gear isn't necessary, but it certainly is helpful. So this is kind of demoralizing. The grind at this area was going to be the majority of my time spent in Bee Swarm. During that time, I used the research bear to try and get more honey. I was also trying to get more bees at the same time to make my grind a little bit easier. While I'm on that grind for like a couple of hours, I'll offer up some of my opinions on this game. I'd say that there's a lot of good things going for this game, including the bees and their little system for getting rarities, and some of the basic equipment. However, there are some things that, in my opinion, that are not so good. Let me explain. One of the things I didn't like was traveling from area to area, going back and forth from your hive and an area far away. Don't get me wrong, there are easier ways of travel like the cannon or slingshot, or if you have a parachute you can use that, but these are only accessible with a certain number of bees or a certain price. I'd prefer it if this slingshot or this cannon or the parachute would unlock after reaching a certain area instead of having me go get one additional bee or more money just to be able to use it. This brings me to my next point, in which there's no reward for getting to another area. The only significant event of getting to another area is more grind to get new items from another shop. Like, where's the thrill to keep grinding from that? I just wish there was more reward out of grinding for the amount that I did. Like a couple thousand honey or some royal jelly. Other than these complaints, I could certainly see that this game is for heavy grinders, who would want to put a lot more than 24 hours into this game. I pushed on forward with my run and was able to get 5 more bees and a couple more upgrades. For each bee I got, I would use royal jelly to at least make them rare or higher. The highest rarity I got during this run was legendary, but it was the baby bee, which I don't think was any good besides its rarity. Moving to the next area, there were a lot of fields that I could access. There was also my favorite monster so far, the werewolf. I mean, he just looks so out of place that it was just so stupid to see him running at you with arms wide open. All of the other enemies were bugs, so why was he the only monster? This guy is a little tanky, but my bees were tough enough to beat him. Kind of. The objective from here was to upgrade my gear some more so that I could handle a lot more pollen. This is when my run was coming to a close. But before I did, I had to see something grand from this game, like a boss battle. Surprisingly, there are bosses in this game, but I wasn't able to face any of the major ones. I was quite surprised that this mini boss, the rogue vicious bee, just showed up out of nowhere while I was farming flowers. And he was much more of a challenge for me than what I expected. The fight isn't at all hard for the player, but it does take a while if your bees don't do any damage. I'm pretty sure you have to feed them a lot of treats to make them do more damage, but I didn't think my bees would be this weak. The main attack you'd expect from this bee is a simple ice spike attack, in which an indicator will tell you where attacks are gonna happen. Very easy to dodge, hard to kill if your bees are weak. In my case, I was going at it for a good 5 to 10 minutes before I finally beat it. After beating him, you get a certain amount of stingers and a couple hundred honey. But that was how my 24 hours ended. A great clash between me and this angry bee. I think I'd recommend this game to people who want to put a grind and put a lot of time into their game. There's a lot of things to see in this game, and it's up to you if you're up for the grind. If you want to check this game out, it's down below, and also the wiki for more information. Other than that, thanks for watching. If you enjoy content like this and would like to see more of it, then consider subscribing.